We're living in a time when we're surrounded by so many different opinions and ideas, aren't we? With social media and the news and friends and family, people have all sorts of different strong opinions on why things are happening and what we should do in response. And because of that, it can begin to feel like there's this tension between us and people we disagree with, or like we're being pulled in different directions and we're not really sure what to do and we're confused, and it can be hard. How do we walk through this in a way that honours God? And if you read about David's life, when he was king, he was surrounded by a whole host of different advisors and people who tried to influence him in different ways. But he wanted God's influence. In Psalm 141, we read about how he comes to God in prayer. And what he prays for is he prays for himself. And just that is a key for us to get hold of. Because sometimes people either consciously or unconsciously can end up with this idea that praying for ourselves is selfish, and that really it's better if we're just praying for other people or kind of worshipping God. But David here prays for himself. The influence of others, these different opinions and ideas are pulling at David, and he knows that he's struggling in saying the right things and making the right choices. So he approaches God and asks for help. And I think what he prays here is so important for us. It's something that I think we need to be praying for ourselves. David prays for his mouth, he prays for his heart, and he prays for his head. All through the Bible we read about the power of our words. But James also tells us how difficult it is to tame our tongue. So if there's one thing we all need God's help with, it's to set a guard over our mouth. And for us today, with all the different ways we have to communicate, not just verbally, but through what we type, through what we share, this is so important. Because what we say, what we communicate in those different ways has the power to build up or destroy, has the power to cause division and stir up anger in people, or to bring peace, has the power to draw people to Jesus or to push them away. So we need to pray for God to guard our mouth. But linked with this, we need to pray for our heart. You know, Jesus tells us that it's out of the overflow of the heart that the mouth speaks. But we've also got to be aware that without God's Spirit renewing our heart, that's not always going to end well. Because Jeremiah 17 verse 9 tells us that the heart is deceitful above all things. It pulls at us to try and persuade us to go along with things that don't honour God. It will make them look like delicacies in David's language, even though they're poison. I think a great litmus test for where our heart is really at, for what it is that's going on inside and how we're reacting to things. And then, the words that are flowing out from us is how much does it line up with the fruit of the Spirit? As you think about your heart, as you think about the reactions that you're having, what it is that you're conveying, where it is that flows from, how much is it filled with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control? So David prays for his mouth, he prays for his heart, and then he prays for his head. That where he's got things wrong, he would be open to rebuke. And sometimes that can be the hardest part. But David recognizes that when rebuke comes, when a blow comes from a godly person, when they raise something, he prays that he wouldn't just be offended, but he would seriously weigh it and come to God with what they say. In a time when we're pulled in different directions, as we disagree with people, as we try and work out how to handle ourselves during this time, I want to encourage you, like David, pray for yourself. You need God's help to navigate this time. I need God's help to navigate this time. We need God to be our key influence, the one that our eyes are fixed on. And as we do that, let's pray for your mouth, pray for your heart, and pray for your head. That God would grow your character and that you would reflect him in all you say, all you type, all you share, and all you do. Bless you guys. Take care.